Hey there, it's Olivia Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and today I'm here to give you a grand old book haul. So settle down, grab a cup of tea, and we're going to talk about books that have recently been added to my shelves. We are going to start with a belated birthday gift. My birthday was in January, and this is from my good friend Taylor, who I've talked about extensively on this channel before, but Taylor is one of my writing friends. She's known me for several years, and she sent me these 3 books for my birthday. They are Octavia Butler books, and they are gorgeous. The first one is Dawn, and then you get Imago, and then lastly you get Adult Rites. These are the Lilith Broods trilogy, and I know that my older sister has read them and really enjoyed them, and these go into the hard end of sci-fi where it's aliens and it's also Afrofuturism. I love everything that I've read by Octavia Butler so far, and I just want to slowly work my way through all of her books, and now that I have this gorgeous trilogy, I'm very much looking forward to doing that. Thank you so much, Taylor. I was sent a proof copy of Some Like It Cold by Elle McNicoll, which I'm very excited about. This is her young adult book, her first young adult book, and it's set in this small town during winter where there is a neurodivergent main character, and she is into all things fashion and film and is coming back to this small town for the last time, and she comes across Arthur, who is this boy who is really into like film and filmmaking and might end up being the reason why she wants to stay rather than the reason why she wants to leave, and it's supposed to be really warm-hearted to keep you warm during those colder months. So it's definitely a wintry vibe to read it, but it just sounds like it's going to be really lovely, and I just love how Elle McNicoll is really doing loads for representation in younger audience books. So unfortunately recently my great uncle passed away, and I was helping my mum sort out the house, and he was a reader. He was a really big reader, so there were a lot of books that we were sorting through and finding places to donate to, and while I was there I did take a few of them home with me. He read a lot of black fiction and a lot of black queer fiction, and so I took some of those books from his shelves. So the first one is Rainbow Milk by Paul Mendez. I actually can't remember a single thing about this book, but I have heard loads and loads about it and how good it is across the grid from queer readers, from people who are not queer readers as well, and so when I saw it on his shelf I thought I'll take that one home and see how it goes. And then there was also one that was on my wish list that I saw on his shelves, and that is The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. This is a historical fiction. I think it's about 2 black queer men who are kind of forging their way through the difficulties of history where it's hard to be queer and it's hard to be black. And there's a good friend of mine, Lakeisha, who is a blogger, and she read this and she really liked it, and since then it's been on my radar as one to get to eventually. Also, so while we were clearing out the house we were donating a lot of these books to charity shops, and so I went into Oxfams that I don't usually go into, and there was one Oxfam that had the best sci-fi and fantasy and manga section that I've ever seen before, and I had to get some books. So I ended up finding a copy of A Master of Jin by P. Djeli Clark. Now I read The Black God Drums by P. Djeli Clark, and I wrote some of my Afrofuturist dissertation on it because I loved it so much, and so when I saw that his full-length novel, one of his full-length novels, was there, I didn't hesitate to get it, and I've been meaning to read more of his books since that dissertation, and I just haven't gotten one for my shelves yet, and so I was so happy to see this there for £2. It felt like such a steal, and I'm so excited to read this book. Switching gear entirely, I was book shopping with my best friend when she was here in London, and I have been trying not to buy too many books now at this current time because I just have a lot to read, but I saw there was a copy of American Queen by Simone, and you know what? I decided to treat myself because I read this series via audiobook and ebook, and I loved it. This is one of the best books that I read in 2023. It's super steamy, it's BDSM, polyamorous, Arthur legend retelling, and this is the first book in the series. I've talked about Sarah Simone books a lot lately because I am devouring them all, but I don't have physical copies of basically nearly any of them, so I was very happy to kind of pick this one up for myself. I used my gift card, so it came home with me for free, and it made me so happy. If you can see from my smile, it's still making me so happy. Thank you very much to the publishers for sending me a copy of Vlados Circus by Elisa, Shua, Dusapin, and this is an author who I read the Pachinko Parlor by earlier, a while ago, last year, before that even, and I really liked the Pachinko Parlor. I thought it was a very good story, and this sounds like it's going to be more of the same, where it's kind of quiet and emotive but still very powerful nonetheless. And it's about this young girl who is fresh out of art school from Geneva, and she moves to Russia because she has been hired there to make the costumes for a trio of circus people who are going to do one of the most difficult acts in history. It's one of the most deadly ones as well. It's so dangerous, and it's about, you know, when circus season comes to an end and they quietly are rehearsing and making these costumes, and the intimacies and the isolation that they feel as they are preparing and practicing to do something that's incredibly deadly, and the trust bonds that they form between each other. So it sounds like a contained story, but one that's going to be very emotionally wrought as well, which is what I like to read. Thank you to the publisher for giving me a copy of Anyone's Ghost by August Thompson, and the tagline for this is "It took 3 car crashes to kill Jake," and it's been described to me as a bit of like past lives vibes, where it's paths that are difficult for them to take and other roads that they could have taken, with a dash of young Mungo sadness to it. So that sounds like it's going to emotionally wreck me, and it's about this queer couple who kind of fall in love, but they are struggling to kind of make their relationship what they want it to be, and Jake goes through 3 car crashes, and one of them he's going to end up dead. So we know it's going to be a tragic love story, and I'm ready to be emotionally ruined. This sounds so much fun. It's a horror book that seems like it's got some comedic elements to it, and it's called Confessions of an Antichrist by Marta Skaði. And in this one we're following our main character. She is called Marta. Ooh, sounds very self-titled. Didn't realise it was the same name as the author. She's called Martha, and she's from a small fishing town in Norway, and she is fed up. She wants to cause chaos, and so she joins a rock band that seems as chaotic as it can possibly get, with all of these very deeply dark members, and they are rocking it, and a record label is just within reach when they end up battling against Christians and fascists and all kinds of politically turmoiled people, and they discover that one of their band members may be a lot more evil and a lot more dark than any of them was gearing up for. So it sounds like one of them might be the Antichrist. I'm ready for Norwegian rock band chaos. I also got Brokeback Mountain by Proulx. This is a very short story. It's made a very famous film, and I don't know anything about it other than gay cowboys, and so I'm looking forward to reading this really short book and kind of knowing what everybody's talking about when they refer to Brokeback Mountain. And also my great uncle had DVDs, so I took the DVD for Brokeback Mountain as well, so I can just read it and watch it and see what I think. We have these 2 books, so A Boy's Own Story by Edmund White, and also Skinned Alive by Edmund White, which is short stories. I had A Boy's Own Story on my TBR wishlist for a while. I think I saw it in a bookshop just by chance, and I think it's non-fiction-y, but it could be fiction-y, and it's about like being queer in historical periods where that was not accepted, and so then I picked up the short stories. He was a fan of Edmund White. I could tell by how many Edmund White books he had on his shelves, but I decided just to take these 2. Pianist by, I should have looked up this last name before. This is a very famous classic, and it's very sad. I remember Mary from Mary Among Stories, and she either read the book or she watched the film, and she was crying her eyes out and was saying it's one of the saddest things that she's ever experienced. So I am ready to experience it as well. It's the story of one man's survival in Warsaw from 1939 to 1945, which is World War period. And all the rest of these are review copies, so without further ado, I'm not going to announce each one saying thank you publisher, but thank you to all the publishers for these. So the first one we have here is All the Hidden Monsters by Amy Jordan. This is a young adult, like paranormally murder mystery, and I have made it no secret that I've been enjoying young adult murder mystery books quite a lot, and so it being mixed with the paranormal element fascinates me to no end, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it can bring. So in this one we're following a girl with hidden secrets who teams up with a warlock to save the case of some murders that are happening in underground Manchester. Paranormal Manchester, I should say. So that sounds like a lot of fun and very fascinating. I've also been on the hunt and looking for more and more books that are set in Jamaica or by Jamaican British authors, as that's a heritage that's mine, and I'd learn a lot about my heritage and culture, not living in Jamaica, but by reading about it and watching, consuming media, as well as by being part of my family. So one of the books that I ended up getting was Sweetness in the Skin by Ishi Robinson. This one is set in Jamaica, and it's about a young woman who really wants to move to Paris and open a bakery and kind of begin her life there, but her mother has other ideas and her mother clearly does not want her to do that, and it's about her being trapped but also what she's going to do to come into her own independence when there are people trying to push her down and stop her from doing what she loves. And then we've got some books that were sent to me by Pushkin Press, so all three of these were. The first one is Unearthing by Kyo Maclear, and this one is a memoir about a mother-daughter relationship that gets shaken up when a DNA test results come to light, and it's about them finding peace and healing through gardening and plant life. So it's got the nature element to it, but it's also got the mother-daughter relationship to it, and I read a lot of mother-daughter books. I find them fascinating. I'm very close to my own mother, so it's probably why I find those relationships intriguing to me, and so I think I'm gonna really appreciate reading this memoir. We have Like Happiness by Ursula Villarreal-Moura, and this one is a fiction book, a literary fiction book, and it's about this woman who has a toxic relationship with the legendary author, and I think this kind of feels a bit like what I was expecting when I went into The Exhibitionist by Charlotte Mendelssohn, where it's about a woman's toxic relationship with an artist, but I didn't like that book, and so I'm hoping I'm going to like this one a lot more because it just sounds like it's going to be intense, but also like it's going to really unpick some elements of toxic relationships. And then last but not least, we have here Company by Shannon Sanders, and this is again a literary fiction book by a black author, and it's about a black family and their connections and their life and their lore, and it's told through 13 black family gatherings. And I think family gatherings are just quite a big part of black culture for a lot of families, and it is certainly for my family as well, and so kind of being told through those gatherings and what happens there, because major drama can happen there, will be interesting to me, and I don't think I've seen a book that does it quite like this, so I'm looking forward to seeing the layout and the structure of this book and if it works for the story as well. And there you have it. Those are all of the books that I have here to haul in for you today. Please let me know in the comment section down below, do any of these books sound interesting to you or exciting to you? Let me know the latest book that you have bought, received, borrowed or acquired. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!